Hello everyone, and welcome back to Life and Quotes, where we explore the lives and wisdom of the world's most inspiring figures. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary life of Nelson Mandela. A man whose name is synonymous with courage, justice, and freedom. Mandela's journey from prisoner to president, from a symbol of resistance to a global icon of peace, is one of the most compelling stories of our time. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll explore the lessons we can learn from Mandela's life and the powerful principles that guided him. So, let's embark on this journey together and discover what it truly means to live a life of purpose and resilience. Let's start with Nelson Mandela's early life, because, to understand the man, we have to understand where he came from. Mandela was born in 1918 in the village of Mbizo, in Umtata, then part of South Africa's Cape Province. He was given the forename Rolihlahla, which literally means pulling the branch of a tree, but colloquially it's more like troublemaker. And it's fitting, because Mandela did indeed become a troublemaker for the forces of oppression. Growing up in a rural area, Mandela was influenced early on by stories of his ancestors' bravery during the wars of resistance. He developed a strong sense of justice from a young age, which was further shaped by his experiences in a country deeply divided by racial segregation. One of the first lessons we can learn from Mandela is about commitment to a cause greater than oneself. Mandela moved to Johannesburg in 1941, and it was there that his political awakening began. He joined the African National Congress, or ANC, in 1944, a pivotal moment that would define his life. Mandela wasn't just a passive member, he became a founding member of the ANC Youth League, and his involvement grew as he recognized the injustices faced by his fellow black South Africans. He understood that real change requires more than words, it requires action and a deep, unwavering commitment to a cause. This commitment is a reminder to all of us that if we believe in something strongly enough, we have to be willing to dedicate ourselves fully, even when the road is tough. Let's fast forward a bit to a defining moment in Mandela's life, the Rivonia trial in 1964. Mandela and his comrades were arrested and charged with sabotage and other offenses that carried the death penalty. During the trial, Mandela gave a speech that would echo around the world. He said, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." This statement was a powerful declaration of his commitment to freedom and equality. It showed his courage in the face of certain death. How many of us can say we believe in something so strongly that we would be willing to die for it? Mandela's words remind us that true courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. It's about standing up for what's right, no matter the personal cost. Mandela's imprisonment on Robben Island was another pivotal period in his life. He was sentenced to life in prison, and for the next 27 years, he was confined to a small cell, forced to do hard labor, and allowed just one visitor a year for 30 minutes. Can you imagine? Many of us would have lost hope, given up, or become bitter. But not Mandela. He used his time in prison to continue his education, both formally and informally. He learned Afrikaans, the language of his oppressors, to understand them better. He used his knowledge to debate with prison guards and, over time, even befriended some of them. This brings us to another powerful lesson from Mandela: resilience in the face of adversity. No matter what life threw at him, he refused to let his spirit be broken. He chose to focus on the long game, on the ultimate goal of freedom and equality for his people, rather than on his immediate circumstances. During those long years in prison, Mandela also cultivated the art of forgiveness. This is one of the most remarkable aspects of his character. He recognized early on that bitterness and hatred would not serve his cause. He once said, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Think about that for a moment. Here was a man who had been unjustly imprisoned for nearly 3 decades, who had every reason to be angry, yet he chose forgiveness. Why? Because he understood that holding on to anger only harms oneself. Forgiveness is liberating. It's a choice to let go of the past and focus on building a better future. How many of us hold on to grudges, big or small, that keep us from moving forward? Mandela's example teaches us that forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves as much as it is to others. When Mandela was finally released from prison in 1990, the world watched in awe. But his release was not the end of his journey, it was the beginning of a new chapter. Instead of seeking revenge, Mandela sought reconciliation. He knew that the only way forward for South Africa was through unity and reconciliation. He worked tirelessly to bridge the divides between the country's racial groups, understanding that to heal the nation, both blacks and whites needed to work together. Mandela's leadership during this time was characterized by his willingness to listen, to understand, and to compromise when necessary. He was not driven by ego or the need for power but by a genuine desire to see his country move forward. This period of his life teaches us the power of humility and service. Leadership is not about wielding power, it's about serving others and lifting them up. In 1994, Mandela became South Africa's first black president, and it was a momentous occasion, not just for South Africa but for the world. But even as president, Mandela continued to lead with grace and humility. He understood that his role was to set the stage for the future, not to hold on to power. He served just one term, believing that true leadership involves knowing when to step down and let others lead. This is a rare quality in leaders, isn't it? So often, we see people cling to power, but Mandela understood that to build a strong democracy, the leader must put the needs of the country before his own desires. He set an example of selfless leadership, showing us that true leaders empower others and create systems that can thrive even in their absence. Another profound lesson we can learn from Mandela is about the power of hope and optimism. Despite the many hardships he faced, he never lost hope. He famously said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." This quote encapsulates his belief in the power of perseverance and the human spirit. Even in the darkest times, Mandela kept his eye on the horizon, believing that a better future was possible. And because he believed it, he inspired others to believe it too. This is a reminder to all of us that no matter how difficult things may seem, there is always hope. We just have to keep moving forward, one step at a time, and trust that our efforts will eventually bear fruit. Mandela's legacy is also a testament to the importance of education. He once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." He believed deeply in the power of knowledge and learning as a tool for empowerment and social change. Throughout his life, he was committed to self-improvement and to improving the lives of others through education. Whether it was in his early days as a lawyer or his later years as a global statesman, Mandela understood that education is the key to breaking the cycle of poverty and oppression. So, what does this mean for us? It means that we should never stop learning, never stop growing, and always strive to use our knowledge to make the world a better place. Nelson Mandela's life is a powerful reminder that one person can indeed make a difference. He was not a perfect man, he had his flaws and made his mistakes, but he was willing to learn and grow from them. He was a man of great courage, resilience, and compassion. He showed us that no matter where we come from or what challenges we face, we have the power to change the world for the better. Mandela's legacy is a call to action for all of us to stand up for what we believe in, to fight for justice, to forgive, to lead with humility, and to always strive to be the best versions of ourselves. As we wrap up this deep dive into the life and lessons of Nelson Mandela, let's reflect on how we can apply his wisdom to our own lives. What can we do today to make a positive impact in our communities? How can we be more resilient in the face of challenges? How can we practice forgiveness and lead with humility? Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about making progress, one step at a time. Thank you so much for joining us today on Life and Quotes. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to hit that like button, share it,